Welcome back! So far in this series, we've covered some basics of interacting with resources on the BigCommerce API. This video will explore the responses an app should expect to receive after sending HTTP requests to the API. These responses should inform the app of the outcome of the requests. Just like request, responses have bodies. In the case of a response to a successful post, put, or GET request, the body will contain the object that was created, modified, or retrieved. Here is the response body to a GET request to an object managed by the product's resource. These responses contain all of the fields on an object with one exception. If a GET request to the product's resource uses the include or the exclude parameters, the fields in the response body can be filtered. For example, adding include equals name to the request will return only the product name and a few other fields like ID, date modified, and primary image. Conversely, adding exclude equals name, comma, sale price will return all fields except the name and sale price. In addition to the response body, the status code returned with the response identifies the result of the request. Successful put and GET request return a 200 status. Successful post requests return a 201 status. Successful delete requests return a 204 status and no content in the response body. When a request fails, the response code will vary, and the response body often includes an error message describing the failure. Let's take a look at some common responses to failed requests. A 409 conflict status indicates the request conflicted with a software restriction. Some examples of conflicts include trying to delete a category that contains products, trying to create a product using a SKU or name that is already in use on another product, or attempting to create an order using products that are out of stock. The response body contains a details object with a brief description of the conflict. A 403 forbidden status is returned when an app requests a resource that is not included in the app's requested scopes. For instance, if an OAuth app requested the read-only scope for orders, but then sends a put request to update an order object, the response will have a 403 status. An app will receive a 401 unauthorized status if the supplied authorization credentials are invalid. This can occur if a user uninstalls an OAuth app or if a basic auth token is revoked or deleted. A response with a 400 bad request status code usually indicates there is an error in the request body or header such as invalid JSON. Be sure to check out the response body message in these cases because the root cause can differ. A 404 not found status is received when a request is sent to a URL that is not used by any resources, such as a product ID that does not exist, or when there is a typo in the URL. Response statuses in the 500 range generally result from server-side issues or connection errors. For this type of error, it is recommended for the app to pause for 1 minute, then rerun the fail request at least a couple times before failing the processes completely. Often, an error in the 500 range will be the result of a temporary condition, and retrying these requests may allow the app to proceed. Building in this way will allow your app to continue where it left off in case of unexpected connection issues. These are some of the most common status codes, but there are several others that the BigCommerce API may respond with. For a full list, refer to the status code section of the API documentation in the developer portal. Bear in mind that a response with a status code indicating there was an error usually includes a description of the error in the response body. An app may be able to use the status code and response body to gracefully handle failures.